Now that we have the crouch ability, we want to go to our jump from crouch. So this is going to be one that, for instance, say the player stops and he crouches, he has a little bit more of a height advantage if he does a crouch jump. Since the player can't walk and run, it goes a little bit higher on the vertical side. So for our jump from crouch, let's go ahead and open up the function here. For this one, just like the other ones as well, keeping the names, you'll kind of notice that a lot of the names are just simply, it can be a can jump from crouch, is jumping from crouch. There's a lot of words that'll just be used to kind of help. They'll be very similar across the board. So if we have a check, there's a good chance that it's going to be called can jump from crouch. And you can double check from here, which it comes up and shows it's valid. You can also go over here and check. There should be a can jump from crouch option right there. Alright, so what do we want to do? We're going to say that we need to actually make sure the player is crouching, and if the player is actually in a crouch state, then we want to check for a button push, for instance like the jump button. Alright, so let's go ahead and fill this in. We're going to say that then is if is crouching, and our crouching options, make sure we actually had a variable. There we go. So we're going to be using the is crouching, which means that the crouch button, for instance on this one, is being held down, and or the button was pushed, so it's actually set to true. Okay, so if that actually is true, we can say that if is crouching and the and option we're going to say is a button being pushed. So we'll say input get button down. We only want to check for the jump button once. We don't want it to be multiple times here. If you wanted to have a controlled jump height, then you would probably do just a get button. That way it's going to be checking for how long you're actually pushing it. You could also do a down then up as well. Lots of different ways we could approach it. Alright, so if we have the get button down and we're jumping and the character is in a crouch state, let's go ahead and start off by setting is crouching to false. That way we just run it through once. The animation, we'll just call up our crossfade again, and we're going to call up a jump, and this one, let's see what it was called, animation jump from crouch. Alright, so we'll do the animation jump from crouch, move it down here, and dot name. Alright, so this gives us the two options. We're now going to say this will run through once, and then play the animation jump. Now, what happens when a player jumps, though? We need to change what? What did we change inside our jump options? This one, if you don't remember, just open one of those up. Hopefully you'll remember it was something called the current jump height. And this one, we just want to make it equal to a jump from, and let's see what ours was called, jump from crouch. So say jump from crouch, and our current value for our jump from crouch is 14. So he's actually going to jump pretty high in the air when we actually do the jump. So we're setting the current jump height to jump from crouch, and then the official one, though, remember, is going to be the in-air velocity. So the in-air velocity.y is now going to equal our current jump height. Alright, and then we'll do a quick message that just says what we're doing. Our animation state is now jump from crouch. Alright. So that actually sounds pretty simple, right? If he's down on a crouch, the button is pushed, he should jump up into it. Now let's go ahead and save this out and give it a try. Alright, so let's see. If player is standing here, we go into a crouch state. If we jump, notice he places crouch from jump state, and he jumps up in that high state there. Alright, cool. So we have our crouch from jump. That wasn't too bad. and it gives us kind of the other side of this one is it gives us something interesting, so kind of provides a reason for why you would want to crouch with the character. Something you could do as well, we're not going to do it here, but you may not want to, I'll show you on this one, is that the moment the button's pushed, he may not be all the way down. So for instance, I could go from this straight into a jump. Notice that it doesn't even look like he's crouching. If you push the buttons quick enough, it'll do that. So a way to make sure you correct for it would just be that it would either be from crouch as a check on time or the jump. It would make sure that crouch was down for, say, 0.5 seconds, and then when the player pushed the jump button, he could then jump. Alright, so that'll finish off the jump from crouch. We'll do some comments on it, and then have that one finished. Let's see, we'll just go ahead and do this one. Toggle jumping from crouch. And the options from here. Oops. There we go. Check for is crouching and button pushed. So we'll say button down. Jump. And for this one, let's go ahead and just set the crouching to false. And we'll play the animation. Set our current jump height. And we'll set the air velocity of y to the current height. Jump. And the last part, we'll just say print state of animation. Alright, that should get us all the way through on the jump from crouch.